Jared was sitting alone in his small apartment on Earth. Rain tapped gently on the window. The sky was gray and the city lights blinked like tired stars. He lived a quiet life. No friends, no family left. Just books, a small garden, and old memories. He was sipping cold coffee when a soft chime echoed through the room. His old communicator lit up, flickering blue. Jared frowned. No one ever contacted him. Not in years. He tapped the screen. Encrypted message received from Sirius Prime. His heart skipped. Sirius Prime. That was the homeworld of Calith, his old alien friend. Years ago, Jared had saved Calith's life during a diplomatic mission. Since then, they had spoken sometimes, shared ideas, stories, and jokes, but Calith had stopped replying months ago. Jared stared at the screen. Decrypt, he whispered. The message opened. A glowing image of Calith appeared. His eyes looked tired, voice low. If you are seeing this, my friend, then I am no longer alive. I do not trust the Council. I do not trust my own people, but I trust you, Jared. Everything I own, my home, my vault, my secrets, and my bond partner Solari, is now yours by law. Jared's breath caught in his throat. Bond partner? He whispered. Calith's voice continued. Travel to Sirius Prime. Go to my estate. The officials will know what to do. But be careful. Not everyone will be happy to see a human claiming a Sirian inheritance. Some will want you dead. Some will want her. The message ended. Jared sat in silence for a long moment. The room felt colder now. The rain outside had stopped. The world had changed, and he hadn't even left his seat. A knock on the door made him jump. He opened it slowly. A tall man in a black suit stood there. He was human, but his eyes felt strange. Mr. Jared, the man said. We're here to escort you to the shuttle port. The late Calith's instructions were very clear. You are expected. Jared hesitated. How did you get here so fast? We've been watching, the man said, smiling. Your journey begins now. The shuttle left Earth that same night. As it moved through the stars, Jared sat quietly, staring at the message again and again. He had so many questions. Why him? What did Calith mean by trust no one? And who was Solari? The shuttle AI spoke, softly, approaching Sirius Prime, prepare for landing. The planet below looked like a dream. Blue oceans, silver forests, and glowing towers rising through the clouds. Jared's heart pounded. He was just a simple human. What was he doing here, among aliens, money, secrets, and a mysterious alien wife? He stepped out of the shuttle. A group of tall Syrians waited for him. Their skin was pale and shimmery, their eyes glowing. An elder stepped forward. You are Jared, friend of Calith? Jared nodded. Then follow us, the elder said. You are now the owner of the Calith estate, and by law, the mate of his surviving bond partner. Jared blinked. Wait. What? The elder didn't answer. He turned and walked through the crystal gates. The others followed. Jared stood alone for a moment, heart racing. He took a deep breath and stepped into a world he did not understand. Behind the crystal wall, someone was watching him, eyes like glowing stars, a figure moving with silent grace. She whispered to herself, So, the human has come. Jared followed the tall Syrians through halls made of glowing stone. The walls shimmered softly like frozen light. His boots echoed with each step. No one spoke. Finally, the elder stopped near a large sealed door. You must meet her now, the elder said. She's been waiting. The door slid open without a sound. Cold air touched Jared's skin. Mist rolled out like silent breath. He stepped inside. It was a garden, but not like anything on Earth. Long crystal trees grew from frozen ground. Their branches sparkled like ice, moving slightly as if they were alive. Strange flowers floated in the air. The air smelled of starlight and snow. In the center stood her, tall, graceful, silver-blue skin glowing under the soft lights. Her long hair flowed behind her like silk. Her eyes, bright and alien, locked onto Jared the moment he entered. She stood beside a frozen fountain, shaped like a heart cut in half. "Jared," she said softly. Her voice was like wind through glass. "You came." He stepped closer, unsure if he should bow, speak, or just stand there. "You are Solari?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "I was bonded to Caliph. Now I am bonded to you." Jared blinked. "I don't understand. I didn't ask for this." Solari turned to face him fully. "Nor did I. But the bond follows the will, and Caliph's will was final." He looked around. The ice garden shimmered around them, cold and beautiful. "Why this place?" he asked. "Because this is where we shared our first memory," she said. "Caliph brought me here the day we joined. It is where I mourn him, and where I now accept you." Jared shifted nervously. "Accept me? I'm not him. I don't even know what I'm doing here." Solari's expression didn't change. "Then you must learn, for everything that was his is now yours." Suddenly, a flower bloomed in midair beside her. She plucked it gently and held it out. "It is tradition," she said, "for the new bond to be sealed with a gift." Jared hesitated. He took the flower. The moment his fingers touched it, a strange warmth ran through his hand, then up his arm. "What was that?" he whispered. Solari stepped closer. Her voice dropped lower. "A part of me now lives in you. You have accepted it." Jared stared at her. "This is too much." She turned and began walking through the icy trees. "Come," she said. "There are things you must see." Caliph left behind more than treasures. He left a warning. They walked deeper into the garden. Solari brought him to a glowing door hidden behind frozen vines. She placed her hand on it. A soft hum filled the air. The door opened. Inside was a small chamber, walls lined with strange carvings and a pedestal in the center. A cube floated above it, spinning slowly, glowing blue. "This," Solari said, "is the Vault of Memories." Jared stepped forward. The cube responded to his presence, glowing brighter. Caliph said, "To trust no one." Jared whispered. "Yes," Solari replied, "and now you will know why." She touched the cube. It blinked, then opened like a flower. A beam of light hit the wall, projecting Caliph's face. His eyes were dark, his voice urgent. "If you are seeing this, Jared, then things have gone as I feared. My death was no accident. They came for me and they may come for her. You must protect Solari, and you must never let the council take what's inside this vault. You're more important than you know." The message ended. Silence fell again. Jared turned to Solari. "What's in here? That's so dangerous." She looked at him with unreadable eyes. "Not what?" she said. "Who?" Suddenly the lights flickered. Solari moved in front of Jared quickly. Her hands glowed. Her voice was sharp now. "They're here." "Who's here?" Jared asked, heart racing. She whispered one word. "Hunters." The garden lights died. Jared stood frozen in the cold chamber, surrounded by glowing carvings and the flickering cube that had just shown Caliph's final warning. Beside him, Solari's eyes had changed, no longer calm and silent, but sharp and ready. "They've come sooner than I expected," she whispered. A low, strange clicking sound echoed through the crystal trees outside. Something was moving fast. Jared whispered, "Who are they?" Solari didn't look at him. "Sarian death brokers. They hunt the dead secrets and silence the ones who inherit them." Jared backed away from the vault. "What do they want?" "You," Solari replied. "And me. And the thing inside the vault." Suddenly a crack shot through the frozen wall. A long, blade-like arm stabbed in and twisted. The door behind them slammed shut. Solari raised her hands and thin beams of light spun around her fingers. "Stay close," she said. Before Jared could speak, a strange insect-like creature burst into the room. Its body was thin, armored, and covered in dark metal. Its eyes glowed red. Solari struck first. A pulse of energy hit the creature, throwing it back. It hit the wall, twitching. "Not dead," Solari muttered, but slowed. Jared stared at her. "You fight like a bonded protector," she finished. "My training wasn't for beauty, it was for war." 2 more hunters dropped from above, their claws scraping the ice floor. Jared grabbed a metal rod from the ground and swung wildly. One lunged at him, but before it could strike, Solari screamed. Her voice cut the air like lightning. The owl creature stopped, froze, and cracked apart as if its bones shattered inside. Silence. Jared looked around, shaking. Solari lowered her hands. "We don't have much time. If more come, we won't survive." Jared nodded, breath short. "Then let's get whatever's in the vault and leave." She turned back to the floating cube. With a soft chant in her native tongue, Solari pressed her palm to the base. The cube spun faster, then projected an image into the air, a glowing map. But this was no ordinary map. It showed ancient galaxies, hidden wormholes, and strange star formations no human had ever seen. In the center, one word glowed in Syrian script. Solari translated, "The Seed of Origin." Jared frowned. "What is that?" Solari looked pale. "A living being, the last of its kind. It has no body, only thought. It sees futures. It builds truth." Jared's voice cracked. "And Caliph left that to me?" Solari nodded. "Because you are human, and the seed only speaks to truthful blood." Jared stepped closer to the floating map. "What does it want?" "To wake up," she said, "and to choose." Suddenly the ground shook. More blades tore through the walls. The entire chamber began to collapse. "Take the vault," Solari shouted. Jared grabbed the cube. It shrank into a small orb and locked into a bracelet on his wrist, glowing. Solari pulled him close and pressed a small disc to the floor. A flash of light engulfed them both, and they vanished. They reappeared in a dark tunnel, far from the estate. Jared fell to his knees, gasping. Solari stood above him, bruised but calm. "Must reach the Starshade outpost," she said. "It's the only place where we can speak with the seed safely." Jared stared at his wrist. The orb pulsed like a heartbeat. "But why me?" he asked. "I'm no hero. I'm no warrior." Solari knelt beside him. Caliph didn't need a warrior. He needed someone who wouldn't lie when it mattered, someone pure in heart. Jared looked up at her, eyes wide. "I'm just a lonely man who lost everything." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe that's why you're the only one who can be trusted with everything." Suddenly, the orb glowed bright, and a strange voice echoed in Jared's mind. "You are not Caliph, but you carry his final truth." Jared gasped. "Did you hear that?" Solari's eyes widened. "It has begun." Darkness wrapped the tunnel like a cold blanket. Jared followed Solari through the narrow passage. Only the glow from the orb on his wrist lit their way. His body ached. His thoughts raced. Why him? Why did Caliph trust him with something that powerful? Something that could talk inside his mind? And why were they being hunted like criminals? Solari stopped. She touched a stone on the wall, and a hidden door opened. A cold wind blew in. Outside, the sky was purple with 3 small moons hanging low. In the distance, black smoke rose from the Caliph estate. Jared stared. "They burned it." Solari nodded. "They're erasing him." They walked through the mountains for hours, until they reached a hidden cave lined with glowing moss. Inside sat an old broken-down shuttle. Its outer hull was marked with a forgotten symbol, Caliph's family crest. Jared brushed the dust off the shuttle's surface. We're flying this? It's the only way to reach Starshade, Solari said. But we need fuel. She opened a hidden panel, revealing a small storage box filled with silver vials. Each one shimmered with strange light. But just as she reached for one, a soft voice spoke from behind them. You always were predictable, Solari. Jared turned. A tall alien man stood in the cave's entrance. He wore a long red robe, and his eyes were golden. He smiled like someone who had waited a long time to do something cruel. Varen, Solari whispered. Jared could feel the fear in her voice. Who is he? Jared asked. My brother, she said, stepping in front of Jared. And the one who wanted Kalith dead. Varen stepped closer. He was weak, Varen said. He trusted a human. He gave you his bond and his vault. And now you walk this world like you belong here. Jared clenched his fists. He trusted me because I saved his life. What have you ever done but betray him? Varen laughed. You think I care about the past? I care about what's inside that orb. Solari glared. You're too late, it has already accepted him. That can be undone, Varen said, raising a small device. I just need to remove his arm. Jared stepped back. Solari attacked. First, she moved like lightning, a blade forming from her hand. But Varen was ready. He threw a small crystal at the ground. It exploded in a flash of red light. Jared couldn't see. His ears rang. Solari fell to the floor, shaking. You used a scream crystal, she coughed. Yes, Varen said coldly. Designed to shut down bonded ones like you. Jared stumbled, trying to lift her, but Varen raised his arm, aiming a needle gun at them. Say goodbye, human. Suddenly, the orb on Jared's wrist glowed white-hot. A shockwave burst out. Varen was thrown back, against the cave wall. His weapon shattered. Jared looked at his arm. The orb had fused with his skin. His veins glowed. Inside his head, a voice returned. You are threatened. I will protect the truth. Solari blinked. It responded to your fear. It sees you. Jared helped her stand. We have to go, now. He grabbed the fuel vials, dragged Solari into the shuttle, and locked the door. Varen lay stunned outside, groaning. The shuttle creaked as it powered on. Lights flickered. Old systems woke up. Jared sat in the pilot's seat. I've never flown anything in my life, Solari whispered. Let me guide you. With trembling hands, they lifted off. The cave collapsed behind them as they shot into the sky. Hours later, they flew silently through Syrian space. Jared sat beside Solari, who was still weak from the crystal attack. He handed her water. I thought your own brother would help you, he said. Solari stared out the window. Varen doesn't see me as a sister. He sees me as a piece of power, just like the seed. Jared looked down. Do you regret bonding with me? She turned her head slowly. No. I regret not warning you sooner. Then she looked at his arm. It has chosen you now. You're not just a human anymore, Jared. You're the last voice the seed will listen to. Suddenly a warning alarm buzzed. Red light blinked on the screen. Multiple ships approaching, Jared read aloud. They've locked onto us. Solari sat up fast. We can't outrun them. He looked at the orb. Then maybe we don't have to. The orb pulsed again, faster, brighter. I will open the gate, the voice whispered. But once we cross, we cannot return. Jared held Solari's hand. Do you trust me? He asked. I trust Kalith's trust in you, she replied. Jared nodded. Do it, he said. Space tore open ahead of them, a rift glowing with silver light. The shuttle vanished into it just as the enemy ships fired. They missed, and Jared was gone. When the light faded, there was no sound. The shuttle floated quietly in a place that didn't feel like space. Outside the window was not black, but deep silver, as if they were inside a dream. Stars drifted slowly, but none were real. They pulsed and shifted shape like memories trying to form. Jared blinked, stunned. Where are we? Solari sat up slowly, her breath shaky. The Forbidden Zone. Jared looked confused. That's not a real place, it's a story, right? Solari shook her head. No, it's real, but only few ever return from it. He leaned closer to the window. A giant floating structure appeared in the distance. An ancient temple in the shape of a spiral made of glass and dark stone. It turned slowly, glowing with light from the inside. Solari whispered, "That's where the seed was born, before the stars had names." They flew closer. As they approached the strange temple, the orb on Jared's wrist vibrated and began glowing gold. "It remembers," Jared said, almost in a trance. "It's calling. Home." The shuttle landed on a platform floating in the middle of the spiral. No guards, no machines. Just silence. The door opened by itself. Jared and Solari stepped out. The air was thick but not heavy. It felt like walking through a dream you didn't want to wake from. A long staircase led up into the temple. Jared paused. "What happens if I go in alone?" Solari placed a hand on his chest. "Then go with part of me." She handed him a small crystal from her necklace. "If anything goes wrong, speak my name into it." Jared took the crystal. "I will come." "Back, you'd better," she whispered, a little smile on her lips. He walked the stairs alone. Each step echoed not just through stone but inside his head. As he moved deeper, voices from the past began to whisper. "He trusted you. You could have stayed safe on Earth. But now you carry the truth." Jared entered a large chamber. In the center floated a massive orb, 10 times, bigger than the one on his wrist. It was alive, pulsing, breathing. Suddenly it spoke. "You are the human." Jared nodded. "Yes." "You carry Calith's final will." "Yes." "You carry doubt." Jared's breath caught. "I didn't ask for this." The orb pulsed slower. "That is why you were chosen." Then something strange happened. A beam of light scanned Jared's body. His past played in flashes. His lonely Earth home, his rescue of Calith years ago, the quiet nights with no one to talk to. "You have nothing, and yet you gave everything. So now, we give you the memory of the first flame." Suddenly, Jared collapsed. His mind exploded with vision. He saw the first time the galaxy was born, the seed, then just a spark, watched. Stars form, die, and form again. It had lived through wars, peace, love, and betrayal, and it remembered humans, not just as animals but as possible futures. When Jared awoke, he was lying on the temple floor. The orb on his wrist had changed. It now had 2 glowing lights inside, one gold, one soft blue. Solari's crystal had melted into it. "The bond is complete," the seed said. "You are now the guardian." Back on the platform, Solari waited. She sensed something before she saw him. Jared walked down slowly, eyes glowing faintly, something different in his posture. Calmer, stronger. "You came back," she whispered. He showed her his wrist. "We're connected now. Me, you, the seed. We're not just running anymore." Solari touched the orb. "Then we must act, before it's too late." Suddenly the temple trembled. Outside, the sky cracked open again. Varen had followed them. "How did he find us?" Jared asked. Solari's face hardened. "He has spies. Inside the seed's own network. He must have stolen part of the map." The enemy ships began descending. Jared turned to the seed. "Can you protect us?" The voice replied, slow and ancient. "Only if you choose war." Jared looked at Solari. She nodded. "If we run, we'll never be safe. But if we stand, others will rise with us." Jared closed his eyes, took a deep breath. Then he said 2 words. "I choose." The sky exploded. Dozens of hidden ships, Calith's old fleet, rose from the silver clouds, armed and ready. They had been hidden, waiting for a command. Jared stepped forward, no longer an outsider, no longer lost. He was now the guardian of memory, And the war was just beginning. The sky over the Forbidden Zone turned blood red. Varen's warships, dark and wide like space whales, dropped from hyperspace and aimed their cannons at the spiral temple. His voice echoed through every channel. Return the seed. Return the traitor, or this place will burn. Jared stood on the edge of the floating platform, winds swirling around him. The orb on his wrist pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, gold and blue light dancing across his skin. Behind him stood Solari. Behind her, Kalith's hidden fleet hovered like ghosts rising from old graves. This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was a fight for truth. Inside the command center of Kalith's lead warship, Jared stared at the control screen. "I've never led anything," he muttered. Solari stood beside him. "You didn't ask for this, but they chose you. The seed chose you. And Kalith trusted your heart more than any general." Jared looked out the window at Varen's fleet. "They're stronger," he said. Solari smiled faintly. "But you're human." Jared turned. "What does that even mean?" She stepped closer, her eyes glowing softly. "It means you survive things that should destroy you. It means your heart loves after loss. It means when the universe turns cold, your soul still burns." The comms buzzed. Varen's voice came through again. "Final warning. Hand over the seed, or we destroy the entire Forbidden Zone. You will be erased from time." Jared took a deep breath. Then he spoke. "This is Jared, guardian of memory, chosen by the seed, heir to Kalith's legacy. You want to erase me?" He looked straight into the screen. "Come try." The first shots were fired. Crimson beams cut through the sky. Solari's fleet responded instantly, ships spinning, shields rising, weapons glowing like stars being born. Jared's ship trembled with each blast. Alarms blared, but inside, he felt calm. The orb on his wrist kept whispering, guiding him. "To your left. Ship 4 needs backup. Call the flame maneuver." He shouted the command, and the ships responded like they had trained for years. But they hadn't. They just believed. Solari stood behind him, fighting on the second console. "Your orders are strange," she said. "But effective." He smirked. "I call it winging it." As the battle raged, one of Varen's dreadnoughts broke through. It fired directly at the temple. Jared shouted no, but it was too late. The beam struck the base of the spiral. The ground cracked. Solari screamed. "The seed! It's exposed!" Suddenly, the orb on Jared's wrist detached itself. It floated in the air, glowing brighter than ever. It spoke, not in words, but in feeling. Pain, memory, hope, power. "You have passed the test," it said. "Now I remember myself." The entire sky flashed. The seed was no longer just data or memory. It took form. A being of light appeared above the battle, shaped like a massive angel of flame and storm. Eyes as old as galaxies opened. Everyone stopped firing, even Varen. The seed spoke to all ships at once. "You fight over my memory, but only one of you carries my truth." It turned to Jared. "And only one of you made a claim not for power, but for protection." The glowing figure pointed. "He is my choice, and I obey him now." Varen screamed in rage. "No, I am her blood. I am Syrian born." The seed responded with thunder. "But he is bonded by heart, and you betrayed your own." Varen's ship began to break apart. He tried to escape, but the seed touched his mind. "You will not be erased. You will remember." He vanished in a scream, trapped inside the seed's memory forever. Silence returned to the stars. Jared floated down as the orb returned to his wrist, now glowing softly. Solari ran to him. "You did it." He looked around, eyes filled with disbelief. "No, we did." She stepped closer. "Then let's finish it. Together." He held out his hand. She took it, and across the galaxy, A signal was sent. A human had made a claim, and the seed, the oldest memory of the stars, had accepted him. The battle was over. Varan was gone, trapped within the seed's eternal memory, his cries lost in silence, his fleet scattered into retreat. The sky above the forbidden zone was calm again, as if the stars had taken a deep breath. But nothing was the same. Jared stood on the high platform of the ancient spiral temple. Below him, alien ships gathered in quiet formation. Hundreds of Syrian warriors, scholars, and nobles had arrived from across the system, all summoned by one message: the seed has chosen. They came not for war, but to witness history. Jared wore a cloak gifted by Solari, black and silver, marked with the spiral sigil of Calith's lineage. Around his wrist, the seed's orb pulsed softly, now fully bonded to his life. It no longer glowed with fear, it glowed with peace. Solari stood beside him, dressed in flowing crystal blue robes. Her eyes held pride, and something deeper. Jared turned to the crowd below and spoke. His voice was quiet, but it carried somehow through every mind. I am not a warrior. I'm not Syrian. I don't speak your language the way Calith did, but I was his friend. I was the one who listened when no one else cared. And when he died, he gave me something more than treasure. He gave me trust. A soft wind blew across the temple. The seed chose me, but I choose all of you. Not to rule, but to remember. This galaxy needs truth, not thrones. Memory, not pride. And bonds, not blood. The seed's light rose behind him like a new sun. From today forward, no truth shall be erased, no voice shall be silenced. I will guard the memory of this galaxy, all of it. The crowd was silent. Then one by one the Syrians knelt, not in worship, but in unity. Later that night, Jared sat alone beneath the stars. The seed hovered beside him in quiet rest. Solari approached slowly, sitting next to him. You spoke well, she said. I just said what I felt, Jared replied. She smiled. That's why it worked. They sat quietly for a while. Above them, stars moved like soft waves. I don't know what happens next, Jared admitted. I don't even know if I belong here. Solari turned her head. You do. He looked at her. Because of the seed? No, she said softly. Because of me. Jared felt his heart beat a little faster. She continued. At first I was afraid to lose Calith, afraid to bond again, afraid of a human with no name in our world. She took his hand. But now I see what he saw. Someone who doesn't chase power. Someone who listens. Someone worth choosing. Jared didn't answer. He just held her hand tighter. The next morning, the seed took form one last time. It hovered over the temple and released a pulse of golden light. Across the galaxy, forgotten truths returned. Ancient wrongs were made known. Entire worlds woke with memories they had lost for generations. And through it all, Jared guided gently. Not as king or warrior, but as guardian. Solari stood beside him. Not as a relic of inheritance, but as a partner by heart and by will. Together, they built the archive of living memory. It was not a throne, but a door, open to all species, all voices, all truths. Years later, children from 100 worlds would ask, is it true that the most powerful force in the galaxy once belonged to a quiet human? And the answer would always be, yes, because he was the only one who didn't want to own it.